You watch 100 Mile Drive, and today I have a 2024 Porsche Cayenne base with V6 turbocharged engine and 348 horsepower to answer one burning question. Is this Porsche base worth $15,000 more over BMW X5 xDrive 40i based on the driving experience? Like, what is this Porsche hype is all about? Is this the first time you watch a 100 Mile Drive? Well, this is the channel where I say, before you buy your Porsche Cayenne or any other car, do not settle for a 5-minute test drive around the dealership block. Instead, rent a similar car and drive it for at least 100 miles on the city streets, highway, and twisted roads to be able to answer the biggest question I'm answering on this channel: how does it feel to drive? And guys, for this Porsche Cayenne episode, I decided to make two videos where in video number one, I'm first gonna drive it in the city to discuss its acceleration, braking, steering response, and most importantly, suspension. I'm gonna unveil Porsche experience, like what is so special about it. Then I'm gonna take it on the highway to talk about its sound insulation and driving comfort on the highways, like what is it like spending hours in this car. And then for video number two, I'm gonna take it on the twisted roads and really talk about Porsche Cayenne driving dynamics. There are certain things I liked about it, certain things not so much. So I'm gonna unveil all of that. And at the end of the video, I'll tell you, would I pay $15,000 more for this Porsche Cayenne base over BMW X5? All coming in this episode. And first, a quick walk around this Porsche Cayenne base. Now, this is a 2024 model refresh. Now, you got a sleeker headlamps, and I really like how it looks. Now, overall, I think Porsche Cayenne looks fantastic. Now, some people love Porsches, some not so much. I noticed the Mercedes guys don't like Porsches, as they like, more fancy stuff. But I think this car overall looks very sleek. It's keeping a lot of its heritage. Now, this one came with 21-inch Spider wheels. Personally, I like how they look in person. I think they're great. Now, these are 285 45 R21 in the front and 315 40 R21 in the rear. Super wide. This has a Bridgestone all-season tires. I'm gonna discuss them. I don't like them, to be honest with you. I think you can put some Pirellis or Michelins here coming on the rear. I think it looks very slick overall. I do like the rear of this Porsche Cayenne base. Now, I actually thought I liked the GT models more, but after spending a day with this car, I like the base one as well too. Let's look at the trunk. Now, the trunk is actually slightly bigger than I thought. It's not bad at all. And you have your spare. Now, Porsche does not believe in the run flats. So you got your spare and all the stuff here to replace it if you need to. So Porsche doesn't use run flat tires, and I respect them for that. They deliver and cater to the experience more than the run flat tires that can ruin the experience, right? So there you have it. Now let's do a quick door sound check. I like this sound. It's pretty nice. It's a heavy door. All right, let's get on the inside. All right, getting on the inside, this is what the Porsche Cayenne interior looks like. We're gonna quickly talk about the interior quality. Now, starting with the door. Now, these upper trims, surprisingly, is a plastic, right? It's a good quality plastic, but I usually expect to have a soft materials. Nevertheless, it does not look bad. It does have little squeaks, a little bit. The door is also handled plastic. This is also kind of surprising. It's not like leather wrapped or something. This is softer touch. This is also plastic, but it's a good quality. Now this has a premium sound Bose system. So not bad overall, not like super high-end kind of stuff materials, but still not bad. Now where it looks really good and luxurious is this upper trim, soft materials, and this looks really nice. Let me go ahead and start it, closing the door. And this is what it looks like. We're gonna discuss quickly about the screen. So overall, you enter Porsche experience from the beginning as you get into this very classy yet modern, clean, interior where things, have been digitized, right? We got our digital screen here. We got our, touch stuff here. Yet again, BMW fanboys, buttons, right? These are toggle switches, but at least I can use them. Like I don't have to go into the menu and try to use my climate control like BMW did, all in the one stupid curved screen. So what I really like about, let's say, this screen, look how configurable it is, right? This is what you get in the Audi. Like this middle screen can become your tachometer and stuff. Look, this is your iconic Porsche setup, right? With all these round things, round like dials kind of Really cool looking. You can put a map. So many things you can change. You know, you can remove everything and keep just the map if this is what you want. Why BMW cannot do this, you know? I love BMWs, but I don't like what they're doing. Like that screen, I don't understand it. You can change this. So it's very configurable screen, and I definitely like how it looks. This car only has 5,000 miles. And then, you know, this is your typical screen. You find all your options here. You know, your car menu, you can adjust your damping levels. This has electronically controlled dampers. So driving mode, normal, or I can do, you know, sport, off-road, and so on and so forth. So pretty cool. So it's a very kind of sleek, right, Porsche. We saw, like I saw a 911 as well. And here is just, you know, your handles. I don't understand also why this is plasticky though. This is not, I mean, it's a good quality material. Yes, I agree with that, but I expected it to be leather wrap. Also, the base steering wheel is kind of thin. I'm used to BMW's thicker ones. Yes, you can of course get, you know, those Tex-Mex, whatever you call that, materials. You can change so much in Porsche. As long as you are ready to pay money, you can upgrade everything. Now, these are standard seats. They're pretty comfy, actually. Porsche calls them partial leather seats, right? You can get, to me, they look like proper leather seats, but I'm not sure like how much of it leather, how much of it synthetic, but they are comfortable. You know, they're pretty comfortable. I like them. Overall, the cabin, I'm gonna talk more about it, but it speaks quality. It definitely speaks quality, even though we do see plastic stuff. But it's a high-end plastic, and you know, one thing is, where's the clock, man? Don't buy a Porsche without the clock. If you're not getting chrono package, don't buy a Porsche Cayenne. Get a BMW. Get your clock right here. You can be compass, it can be a real clock, subsequent clock, but get that stuff right here with your chrono package. There you go. Otherwise, there you have it. Let me quickly jump into the rear seats just to show you the comfort of the rear seats. And I am in the back of Porsche Cayenne, and I have pretty comfortable position here. I sit kind of upright. It feels like straight, all right? It keeps you upright. You can definitely adjust the upper portion right here, so you can move it up and down. So seats are pretty comfy as well. These base seats. One thing I don't really like that much is this grab handle. Like I said, this plastic materials doesn't feel and inspire quality for some reason. I mean, it's a good option to have, and I like that Cayenne offers this. I just feel, you know, I wish it was leather wrapped. That's just my opinion. Now you have your centerpiece right here. Let it fold out, and you can put your hand here and then rest just fine. So it's a good place to be in. Let me quickly show you also the area here for the charging your phone, your two USB-Cs, your heated seats. Now this is part of the premium package, or you can get this separately. Now some areas to keep your phone, more areas here. And another thing I want to show you, this has panel roof, right? Let's just open this, and then this thing opens up. So it's pretty cool. Like you have your, you know, piece that closes your glass kind of roof, and you have your open air experience. All right, so this is what Porsche looks like. Let's go ahead and drive it. And first I'm gonna drive Porsche Cayenne base in the city. Now I'm gonna throw the chassis into the sport mode. Now this car does not have Eco Pro or Sport Plus. That's because there's no chrono package in this car. So we're gonna toggle to drive mode, and let's just get a feel for the you know, acceleration, just to see what is it like driving Porsche Cayenne, right? Now officially it's rated 0 to 60 as 5.7 seconds and 5.3 with the chrono package, or 5.4. So Porsche BMW X5 is pretty much about the same, right? 5.3 seconds for the like M Sport trim, or a base trim is the same thing. So acceleration is not like blazing fast, it's just adequate, right? There's no crazy exhaust notes, no like pops or anything like that. You're not gonna get that in the base Porsche Cayenne. So coming to the stop, so I'll just get a quick feel, you know, for the launch. All right, stops pretty well. Let's go. Yeah, there's like no crazy rips, like, you know, crazy gear changes. It's very smooth. It's a very smooth experience. And interesting enough, in the sport mode, it tightens things up a little bit, but not that much. I feel like BMW in the sport mode does more stuff, right, compared to Comfort or Eco Pro. Now there's no Eco Pro in this car is just literally normal and sport. Now one more stop. Let's do a quick launch. Yeah, I'm like putting it to the floor, and there you go, builds the power. Yeah, it's adequate. It's really adequate. So what does it tell me? That this car primarily, I mean, it has a sporty characteristics that I'm gonna unpack, but it's delivered for comfort. They want you to have this Porsche experience where they deliver it through luxury comfort, and that's why the engine is very smooth in this car. Transmission is not dual clutch. This is the ZF conventional torque converter transmission that shifts very snappy, but it's very smooth compared to, let's say, dual clutch, right? Like in the base Macan, you get PDK that shifts very quickly. Not here. Now, what about the brakes in the Porsche Cayenne base, right? Brakes are pretty solid. Brakes are solid. It stops really well. No squeaks, you know, tires don't look for like traction. They stop really well. Well, guess what? We have super wide 315s in the rear, 285s in the front. So you won't get any slips in the tires. Will you get them in the twisted roads? We're gonna discuss that, right? One more braking right here, and it brakes very, very nice, very confidently. Brake pedal is kind of soft, not smooshy, but soft. Acceleration pedal is also not heavy. It's kind of like soft, easy to, you know, push it for ladies, you know, anyone. Is kind of effortless. Next, let's talk about steering, right? This is where Cayenne is so different than the BMW X5 or anything I've driven on this channel. Look at the steering inputs. I give it a little bit, I steer a little bit, and it moves. The chassis just moves with it. Now, I had to go back and drive my car before recording this video, X3 M40i, which is a sportier, right, aggressive suspension setup in my BMW. And even there, steering is not as responsive as here. And also there's more lean in the chassis. So one thing I'm gonna unpack about this Porsche Cayenne is how chassis moves fluently. It's like driving a sedan. There's literally like no body lean pretty much in this car. So after Porsche Macan, which pretty much has zero body lean in the corners, I was like, you know what, Cayenne has a much taller platform. There has to be body lean there. Well, guess what? Porsche does things you don't expect, right? And not having body lean in this car, there is a little bit, but it's done a little bit differently. Overall chassis response with small steering inputs, and that's what's so impressive about this car. Now, next let's talk about suspension, right? Suspension and chassis control. Let me go ahead and drive it on my favorite Tampa road. And now driving on my favorite Tampa Avenue on the beat up road just to experience suspension. That's where I bring most of my cars. And let's unpack Porsche Cayenne base, right? Now it has electronically controlled suspension. Now I'm gonna throw it back in comfort mode or normal mode, what Porsche calls it here. So normal damping. And here's the thing, now it is comfortable. It's more on the comfort side than sport, yet it feels the road, right? This is not an air suspension that you can optionally get with the Porsche Cayenne. But so what is like a squirrel suspension, right? Like, well, it does pick up on the stuff. Now, especially we have 21-inch wheels here, bigger wheels. And what I found, I think harsher rubber. These Bridgestone Alenza tires, I think they're a little bit spoiling the experience. I think it should be Michelin All Season, Pilot Sport, or Pirelli's softer rubber, right? So the contact with the road is a little bit harsh. It almost feels like I'm driving on run flat tires for some reason. But overall damping is, like I said, even though it's on the comfort side, but it feels much more tightened up than, let's say, the BMW X5. BMW X5 feels a little bit more natural, the way it responds to everything on the road. It picks up stuff kind of like different way, and it feels more relaxed. Like, you know, some say, you know, after driving a little bit sportier cars, some say BMW feels like a bus, you know. Well, this one doesn't feel like a bus. This feels very solid car, very comfy, but at the same time, it has the sporty attributes. And you, as you get in more into this car, you kind of understand it and feel it more. Now, let's talk about this Porsche experience, right? Like, what is it like driving this car? What do you feel like driving this car? So I really spent some time understanding this vehicle, because just from basic 5-minute test drive, you really cannot get that much, right? You need to spend more time, including driving on twisted roads. And the biggest thing that I kind of understood, first of all, you're sitting up kind of high in this vehicle. Compared to BMW X5, you're sitting taller and higher. So you have this commanding feel and view out of your windshield, nice sculptured hood that feels nice. Now, chassis control is what is so different in this vehicle, and it mimics the air suspension in some way, right? Now, I'll try to explain. Car like a BMW, it more naturally responds to the road. It's a bit more bouncy. Now, BMW does it also very nicely, fantastically, but it responds more to the road conditions, right? Even if you take their M Sport suspension, that also reads the road as well. Now, Porsche tries, like I said, mimic the air suspension, where the chassis kind of stays leveled, right? The chassis stays leveled. It responds to all the stuff that happens on the road, but not as much, not the same way that the BMW does. And this creates kind of like a luxury experience, because with like air suspension, usually you try to create luxury experience by removing vibrations from the road and, you know, keeping things very planet and stable. And that's what Mercedes GLE does, right? The car that I drove on my channel. Now, Porsche Cayenne base on the steel suspension mimics kind of that with a sense of the road, right? You still feel the road, especially on these bigger wheels. You still pick up on stuff, you understand what's going on, but yet the chassis feels so level, giving you this luxury experience, right? Now I'm sitting in a very nice cabin, high-end materials, very classy, yet very modern, right? Very modern Porsche, very modern interior, yet very classy. So I will describe this like a man in tuxedo, like a James Bond, right? Where, you know, he knows how to handle themselves. He's usually calm. He's usually, you know, enjoying just being there, kind of, right? So when you're driving this car on the road, you don't even need to go fast. You're just enjoying the experience, just even driving it slow. Believe it or not, but that's how this car feels. Yet when stuff hits the fan, it's capable, right? This car is capable. You know, you can maneuver it. You need to go a little quicker. This steering is gonna respond. This chassis is gonna move. It's gonna like act very quickly. You need to toss this car. You need to brake. You need to accelerate. This car is capable. Not the same levels as the Turbo S, right? Turbo S is a different beast. It's more agile. It's more live. You know, I've driven the Panamera Turbo S, but I've never driven Cayenne, but I kind of can relate. So this car is not a bit, but a lot more calmer than that. Yet it still has these attributes, right, of a calm. Like when you drive this car, like I want to put on my nice watch, and I don't need to prove anything to anyone. Like I made it, right? I made it, you know. I don't need to prove anyone. I don't need to do 0 to 60. I don't need to, you know, show off or anything. I just enjoy being there. I just enjoy the experience. I enjoy Porsche experience. And guys, they're able to show that in the base Porsche Cayenne. I don't know, like they should advertise this kind of stuff on their website. Like Porsche doesn't know how to sell their cars. I mean, not that they don't know how to sell their cars, like why they don't talk about it. For me to get into this, to understand the philosophy, I need to spend a day, right? So I can relate it to you, I can discuss it, I can explain how sophisticated this chassis, how sophisticated this experience is, how pleasant and interesting it is, all right? So let me go ahead and drive it on the highway so we can discuss what is it like driving it, you know, spending hours in this car. And I'm about to merge the highway, just experiencing more bumpy roads in this Porsche. And it's like riding a boat in a way. It floats really nicely. It soaks the bumps. Now it's not the most like soft way of soaking the bumps, but it's a very still pleasant way, right? Like I like going over the bumps in this car. And I think if you get like a 19s or 20s, right, the wheels and tires, softer tires, that will be even softer. Now merging the highway. All right, let's go. All right, I'm going towards the sun. I hope you'll be able to see stuff. Now, merging the highway, the first thing I want to see is the sound insulation in this car. And I think sound insulation in this vehicle is better than in BMW X5. Now I'm going to use my meter. I'm going to go 65 and let's check it right now. No, it's about 62, 63. It's about the same actually. There is a little bit of a windshield noise. Slight, very, very slight. But overall, I don't hear anything. I do hear my tires though. Some drawback is these big tires, you do hear them on the highway. So, for example, in BMW X5, it had 22-inch wheels and tires. That I didn't hear as much as I hear these ones here. I personally think it's because of the tires. I think this needs a softer rubber like Michelin tires or Pirelli's, and it will be better. This Bridgestone Alenza, I think, is a harsher rubber. I complain about these tires for the run flats on my X3 M40i. I think even the regular ones are harsher than the Michelin, so I think it would totally benefit. Now, what is it like driving this car, right, for long trips? Well, it's a very enjoyable experience. It's cars flowing. You feel you're in a very upscale, modern cabin. The Bose sound, by the way, sounds amazing. It is on par with the Harman Kardon in the BMW, maybe even slightly better. So I highly recommend you get the premium package in this car. So you get the Bose sound system, you get your heated, ventilated seats. I believe heated seats, you can add ventilated seats as well. I would definitely get, like I said, chrono package and maybe those wheels. Everything else is literally optional. I don't think it needs leather seats. And like I said, maybe steering you can upgrade, but yeah, maybe I would leave just the base one just fine. Otherwise, very enjoyable. Now let's check out the mid-range power in this car. We're in the normal mode, and then we're gonna check in sport mode. So floor it. Yeah, there's a delay of like more than a second, and then it finds the right gear. And of course, mid-range power is pretty good. I would say similar to the BMW X5. Man, this car at speed stays really planted, very planted. Like I said, it keeps chassis leveled, and this experience, it's not bouncy. Like a BMW is a more bouncy kind of experience. With Cayenne, it keeps it leveled, and this gives you very commanding feel, flowing, commanding feel. I almost feel like I'm riding a boat, right? But in a good way, not like a flowy kind of way, but because it's in one level. Like, it does a fantastic job, I think, even with this steel suspension, leveling things really well. Now in the sport mode, let's try mid-range power, floor it. Yeah, a little bit quicker, but surprisingly, sport mode doesn't change things too much compared to the normal mode. It's about the same, I would say. Usually I'd expect a more aggressive setup, but it's again because we don't have PDK here, and this car is more geared for luxury, comfortable experience more than the sport. So guys, this is what I have for you for the video number 1. I'm trying not to make it too long. Let me know what you think. Are you considering Porsche Cayenne? Have you ever compared it to the BMW X5? I think it's also a fantastic vehicle, but this is different. I'm going to summarize it in my video number 2, so wait for that. And in video number 2, I'm going to drive this on the twisty roads to kind of unpack driving dynamics of this Porsche Cayenne base. And talk to you soon.